Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse, and today we're talking about the Urtopia 1. Whoa! That's actually kind of light.
Yeah, it's carbon fiber.
Yeah, no kickstand though, huh?
Next on Now Let's Review. All right, so this is the Urtopia 1. There's also the Urtopia 1S. Weird thing is, they're both the same price.
Yeah, now the Urtopia 1S, the big difference is that it has a chain drive with 7 speeds. This is belt driven, only 1 speed, so there's no shifting.
Right, so $27.99 is the current price.
And you might be saying, well, that's because it's carbon fiber. And it is carbon fiber. But there are quite a few more features that I think make this bike more attractive for its price point.
Yeah, so being carbon fiber, it weighs 33 pounds. That's with the battery.
And yeah, it's very, very reasonable. With the battery out of it, it weighs even less. So if you need to transport it, carry upstairs, put it on the back of something, it's gonna weigh about as much as a normal bike.
Yeah, to give you some idea, most of the e-bikes we review are in the 55-pound range. So
and it just goes up from there. I mean, we have some that are like 80 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, the Hyper Scorpion is very heavy.
This is on the complete other side of the spectrum. This is about as light as you can make an e-bike without making it tiny.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the battery first. It's a Samsung and it's removable, and it's a 352 watt hour or 9.8 amp hour battery. So not big, but it does the trick. So that's gonna mean at the upper end, you're gonna get 60 miles of range. That's gonna probably be if you're in eco mode and you're not doing a heck of a lot of hills.
And a lot of e-bikes that we talk about, they're kind of like bikes, but they're also kind of like motorcycles because they have throttles. This bike does not have a throttle, which means that if you want to be moving forward, you're going to need to be pedaling. The really nice part though is that they put actual torque sensing on your pedals. So instead of a cadence sensor, which is just sort of saying, oh, they're pedaling, I should go. It's gonna say, oh, they're putting in 6 Newton meters of torque. I should put this much extra energy into the motor to propel them along. And that, I have to say, is one of the nicest features about this bike. It is head and shoulders above most e-bikes in that it is actually giving you power delivery while you're pedaling, a feature that was only available on bikes that were a lot more expensive than this one just a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's a really nice feature. Always be looking for torque sensing if you can afford it. And on the One, you get 35 Newton meters of power from the 250 watt motor. If you get the 1S, it's a 350 watt motor with 45 Newton meters of force. And I do want to mention that the belt is rated to last 19,000 miles before you'll need to change it. So let's talk about colors. You can get it in 3 different highlight colors. We've got it in Sirius, or kind of orange and gray. You can also get it in Midnight Paris, and you can get it in Lyra.
Now the bike that we're talking about here is the Carbon 1. You can get the 1S, which of course has a shifter, multiple gears. That allows you a 25 mile an hour top speed. This bike gets you to 20 miles an hour, and that's mainly because you're not gonna be shifting up any gears or down any gears. It's 1 gear, baby, because it's 1 belt.
And this model saves you 2 pounds in weight.
So this bike comes with 5 different levels of pedal assist, according to them. Of course, one of them is called off, you pedaling, and then level 5 is turbo, and turbo is much more similar actually to cadence sensing. So any amount of input and the bike is going to give you full throttle. It can be useful in certain applications, but I think that you're really going to like the 3 levels of pedal assist that it has.
I totally agree. I think the Eco or the pedal level 3 is probably where you're going to find most of the use. And let's talk about the wheels and the brakes. So these are 700C inner rim 19 millimeter wheels with the Kenda Quest 700 by 35C tires.
And take a look at these. I mean, they are pretty narrow. This is where you're getting all of your range from, is really narrow road tires. Now, if you're used to riding on road tires, that's great. If you're not, you might have limited grip in certain slippery conditions. So definitely something to consider if you're thinking about purchasing this bike.
It's got front and rear Tektro hydraulic brakes, which I like a lot. And I really like the minimalness of all the wires and cables. Very little. All you got are your 2 brakes in the front, and you've got a little bit of cabling. Where did I see it?
Right here.
There. Yeah, so great job that they did on that. So what you just heard there was Jesse turning on the lights.
And I am the one person who can turn on this bike because it has a thumbprint reader. So if somebody else tries to turn on the bike, it will not turn on.
Although you can assign multiple people to the app.
Yeah, you can put as many fingers as you want, and it doesn't care whose fingers
it is. And it doesn't just have to be your thumb. You can pick any fingers you want.
Which I think is a really cool feature. It means that without anything, You could have, oh, I lost all of my clothes, which had all of my keys and my phone, and all I have is my body, and your body will unlock the bike. I think that's kind of nice.
But it is nice that you can turn it on with your app as well, because as we all know, if your fingers are wet or dirty or your gloves, it won't work.
So this bike comes with what it calls a modular tail light. And the reason for this is because not only do you get this nice bright tail light, but you also get, if you can see on my hand here, projected lights on the ground.
Yeah, we're showing you right now riding at night, which is really what it's good at. And so this is letting other drivers know what you're up to. And so not only is it just giving you some more visuals on the ground for cars to see you, but
you can also do blinker
turn signals. And so that's gonna let other riders and other drivers know what you're up to in way better than just a little light on the bike, which it's the first time I've seen it and I really like it. Let's go to the headlight. This is a 20 lux headlight that is a German regulation compatible. So,
oh, there it is.
Not too bright, and it's compliant with all of their regulations.
And if you're thinking like, oh great, now I have to learn some new controls of how to turn on the headlights. You don't. It's ambient sensing, so if it's dark out, the headlight will turn on automatically.
But how did you just do the turn signals?
That's with the control system right here. You get left and right, up and down. Really simple controls.
Like a joystick control.
Yeah, so it's like up, what would you think up is? More power. Down, what would you think? Less power. Left, right is the blinkers. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, really nice.
And if you want it even simpler than that, turn off the lights.
Light off. Wait, voice command?
Yeah, voice commands. It's got voice commands.
And it talked back to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of things. Pedal level 3. Power level 3. Yeah, it's real fun. There are certain things that you can have it do, volume 3.
Volume 3. Oh, right, because this is a Bluetooth speaker. So you can be playing music from your phone, which is in your pocket, let's say, while you're riding your bike. And you don't have to mount it up here like you normally would to get turn by turn, because this will do turn by turn signals as well for you.
Yeah, not only that, the handlebars also vibrate whenever you do any kind of input, which is kind of weird, but it's great to have that haptic feedback. And the speaker will give you...
Doesn't it also give you a vibrating handlebar when it's about to do a turn, or when it wants you to do a turn?
Yeah, it also has turn-by-turn navigation. This is really a smart bike if I've ever seen one. The turn-by-turn navigation, by the way, is going to use your phone's GPS. It is not, there's no GPS built into this, although it does have a SIM card and it can use 4G to communicate with your phone when you're away from it.
Interesting, we'll get into more of that later. Let's talk about the different sizes. We're gonna show you that here on the screen. Make sure that you pick the right size of the bike for you. The only problem with the One is that they don't sell this in a small.
Right.
But in the 1S, you can get small, medium, and large.
And we got the medium, and I thought for sure I was just gonna go for the large because, I'm an American, so I buy a t-shirt in large. That's normal. But it turns out that I'm actually a medium when it comes to Urtopia, and that's actually with the seat all the way down here. So yeah, definitely check your inseam before you buy the bike.
The weird thing here is there's markings so that it shows like it should be able to go further in, but it can't because of this modular light.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing because you think that you could set your tuchus down right here, but you can't.
And this bike will handle 240-pound payload.
So the bike comes a little bare bones. As you can see here, there's no kickstand.
You can buy a kickstand for 29 bucks.
You can also get it with fenders, which I would highly recommend if you're gonna ride this more than 3 times a year.
Yeah, it depends on your style, but there's fenders for $99 and there's micro fenders for $99. You can also get a water bottle cage for $39.
An extra comfort saddle for $59.
And if you need an extra battery, that's $449. All right, so let's talk about the app and other features in what they call the Smart Bar.
So if you've had a bike in the past, couple of years, you've probably gotten a phone mount for it, so you can have all of that smarts right at your fingertips. Of course, if you have a phone mount, you might know that sometimes your phone might fall off, and that's not so great. What Urtopia is really shooting for here is to get your phone back in your pocket, or maybe even leave it at home.
Or put it in this bag here.
Yeah, they want to keep your phone safe, so they made what they called the Smart Bar. It's not a handlebar, it's a Smart Bar. And what that's going to allow you to do is keep your phone in your pocket, turn-by-turn navigation. You can play music out of this. You can be tracking everything you want to do, all while keeping your phone safely in your pocket. And they're hoping that you're not going to need to strap anything stupid to the handlebars. You don't even need a bell, right? Because it's just like...
And you can custom set your bell. There's different sounds, which is pretty cool. You can do that in the app.
Now, since you have such a smart bike, another cool feature that they were able to tack on is theft deterrence. So basically, if somebody goes to mess with your bike while you've left it parked somewhere, it will send a notification to your phone. That's using its built-in SIM card, which you do have to pay for. On their website, they said that it's about $30 a year. I don't know how you renew it, so that's something to look into if you're worried about someone stealing this.
Well, and the thing is, it gave me a notification today when you moved the bike, but it didn't tell me where to go find it. So, I mean, I don't know how useful that is unless you can run right out of the restaurant and, you know, go catch the guy.
It might come in handy, but yeah, no GPS, so unlike a Tesla, it's not gonna be able to be like, and that's where they are.
So let's talk about the unboxing. I was pretty pleased with it. Inside the box was a very sustainable packaging, so very little foam, which is odd. Usually we find a lot of styrofoam. This is almost all cardboard, which is just very nice from a sustainable point of view.
From a trash point of view, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have some trash, but you're not gonna have bags and bags of styrofoam. We've gotten some bikes and just been blown away by the amount of garbage that we're gonna have to like now drag out to the end of the driveway.
Right. One negative on the unboxing was that when we were putting it together and we went to put the seat post in, there's a screw right here. And when you went to screw it in, you're like, whoop!
The screw fell down the hole.
See down there?
How'd that happen?
It fell out of the hole. The hole's right there, I think.
All right, you're back with the magnet, huh? Magnet on a stick.
Slightly. I mean, it moves, it comes, but this magnet is weak.
I'm just gonna, luckily, it's made out of carbon fiber, so it's really light.
There
hear
it
it.
is.
12 seconds later.
The screw just went in. It didn't screw in or anything. Now it's in the bottom of the seat post, which happened before.
So you had to turn the bike upside down to get that thing out, and we thought, uh-oh, this is broken, we'll have to send it back. Turns out, because this is carbon fiber, you can't mount inserts to it like you normally would on an aluminum frame bike. And so it wasn't broken, it's just that that piece was floating. So be careful, when you unbox yours, you might find that your piece is floating around the bottom of the box like ours was. It did actually go together.
Yeah, we had to fish around in the bottom of the box. It's lucky that we didn't recycle it because we would have lost the piece that basically keeps your seat post from moving. It's a really nice, well-made design. It's just that it can hop out and then you're like, how am I supposed to get the seat on my bike, which was pretty important.
Yeah, so be really careful when you unbox. All right, so now we're gonna get into some pros and cons. I'm gonna kind of mix it up here. We're gonna have cons and pros mixed together. First pro for me is how lightweight it is. It makes it so much easier to put this on and off a bike rack or to get it down some stairs. So if that's a big feature for you, and if you're one of those kind of long-range bicyclists, this is probably what you've been waiting for.
Yeah, I know that cycling can be an expensive hobby and e-cycling is gonna be even more expensive, but I really think that this is a well-budgeted bike for someone who wants to do quite a bit of miles, probably has biked their whole life. They don't need the backup until they either wanna get home or if they wanna handle some hills.
There are so many reviews on Urtopia's website of people who are like, I was kind of getting on the older side, I couldn't really tackle those mountains anymore, and then this came along and now I can get back to biking again.
On the con side, there is no suspension on this bike and the tires are very, very firm. It's like a minimum of 50 PSI, so they're not the softest tires to be going over bumps and cracks.
Yeah, this is not an off-road bike, this is a road bike.
This is a road bike and that makes it kind of urban, kind of I can get to work on this bike, but if you're gonna be running into any big cracks or bumps or slippery spots, it might be something that you're going to need to think a little bit harder about if you buy this bike.
In my opinion, this is an experienced bike rider's bike. Like, you know if this is the kind of bike for you. If you're a newbie, I don't know if this is your bike. Another con might be what you brought up, which is the connectivity. This uses a SIM card, and I think you get the first year included. Then after that, we don't know. So I don't know if you have to call up the company and pay another 30 bucks. I don't know if you need to, but just want to point that out.
But in the pro category, I would definitely put all the smarts that they put in this bike. And that does include, the connectivity, which is kind of a con because it's kind of annoying. But there are just so many neat features that they were able to pack into this bike because they put all that connectivity into it.
Let's go to some of the smart stuff though, which involves the screen, and I'm not a big fan of the screen. I mean, it is bright, which is nice, but it's so pixely. It's like 1980s style, and if that's your thing, it's great.
Yeah, I think that you're getting pretty spoiled with the color LCD screens that we have on a lot of e-bikes. They went for this matrix display, which probably brings down the price a little bit, gives you complete functionality to add all sorts of pictures of very blocky Mario style stuff, but it does allow the screen to be a little bit brighter if you wanted to.
In the pro column would be the lights. I love the rear lights. I love that we've never seen this before in a bike. Having those lights out in the back so that everyone knows where you are and what you're doing, that's huge. Safety went way up.
Visibility on bikes is so important. It's important to not just have one point of light coming at you if you're a driver. And that's why we always love to talk about Lumos helmets. They not only keep your head safe from getting smacked in the head, but they also protect you from even hopefully needing to get smacked in the head.
That's your favorite part of the show, isn't it?
To get the bonk. We got to get a club for this. But let's be real here. Visibility is really important when you only have two wheels, and that's why we love Lumos helmets. Not only are they really good at visibility though, they also, a lot of them have MIPS, which is, when we're talking about bike safety, a huge step up in bike helmet technology.
Yeah, you're gonna thank us if you get one of these.
Hopefully not.
And another thing in the pro column is the free shipping and the 14-day return policy. So get your bike, put it together, go for some rides. If you don't love it, return it. That takes a lot of the, because let's be honest, you're buying this off the internet, it's a lot of money, and it's not like it's from the bike shop down the street. And so I think it's really smart of them to do that because that takes a lot of the pressure off you.
I think one of the biggest pros for me is that this bike feels really well thought out. I can't tell you how many e-bikes we've gotten where it kind of feels like they took a whole bunch of components, slapped them all together, and sold it to you, and it works, but it just doesn't, there's no like experience. This bike has experience, it has pizzazz, it has carbon fiber, it's its own thing, and you really are gonna feel nice about it.
No, the design is stunning. I mean, look at the shape here. It's just beautiful. In fact, having this bag on almost does it a disservice because without it, you get to see more of this Z design, which is just really fantastic. Also, I just love that it's quiet. These motors are super quiet, the belt is quiet, so when you go for a ride, it's just you and the road. It feels really nice.
Another part of the design is that they hid that pretty small battery in there, so you're probably not gonna get, again, as many dirty looks from other cyclists.
I really don't think many people are even gonna notice that this is an e-bike.
Yeah, this really feels like a bike. It doesn't feel like you're cheating. It doesn't feel like you're riding a motorcycle. It feels like you are pedaling the bike and you are just really much better at it than you usually are.
Yeah, if you're an experienced rider and you've been waiting for a lightweight bike to, help you because maybe you're getting older, or maybe you have an injury or something, I would say give this one a shot because this might be just what you've been waiting for. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them down below so we can get those things answered for you. Let us know other things you'd like us to review, and don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the like button so that we can bring you more on Now Let's Review.